Welcome back to the BOE Entertainment Podcast. It's the B.O.E.cast. It's a solo show. The thing you've been waiting for. It's basically sound for your ears again. Shout out to those who remember the throwback solo show. I am your host today, Philip Beavers. Your favorite of the three anyways, so who cares? You know you love me. I'm your host, and today, I'm the only one. I'm your only friend today. I'm your closest confidant. I am inside of your walls. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. The boys are out, which means it's time to play. It's time for Phil. The boys are out, then Phil will play. Too French. Let's not go there. All right, guys. Who's ready to jump right into it, right? I've been doing well. How have you been doing? Just kidding. You can't tell me. I've been doing well, feeling good today, feeling energetic, feeling very energized, feeling very me, feeling very centered. It's just back to normal. It's back to the regs, you know what I mean? I got my water here with me. I'm going to take a sip because I'm thirsty. I had to do the setup by myself today. Binky up, of course. And why, you may ask? Am I wearing sunglasses? Because the fuck. And why, may you ask, am I wearing sunglasses? Because the sun shines brighter on the solo cast. Just kidding, because they're prescription sunglasses that I spent way too much money for. And so I'm going to get every possible occasion of wearing them that I can. Because honestly, they're sharper than my regular glasses, which are, you can't see, covered in scratches and smudges. And you say, well, Philip, you worked in a production office. You must have glass cleaners or lens cleaners or some kind of lens cloth you can clean it. I did, and I do, and I've tried. And it just doesn't fucking work. You know why? Because those smudges are not smudges, baby. That's scratchies. That's very close contact, repeated, repetitive scratchies. But your boy's looking at new glasses because it's time to get new glasses. You can't just walk around with broken glasses as an almost 30-year-old man. You cannot do it. You can't do it. And speaking of things that you can't or shouldn't do, that's going to bring me to today's Hot Minute Hot Take. Philip by himself. Philip by himself. Philip by himself. Welcome back to the Hot Minute Hot Takes. It's everybody's favorite game on the show. I get all 60 seconds today, and I'm probably not going to use all of it because that would be what a crazy person does, right? I'm just going to, bitch for 60 seconds? Just kidding. I can do that. I'm going to do it for the whole hour. And I'm stalling because I'm waiting for the timer to go through. It's going to be a rough show. I am 2 minutes in, and I'm floundering. I'm vamping. In 3, 2, 1. Land Rovers, Range Rovers, G-Wagons. I can't think of a bigger waste of your money. They don't look cool, they drive like shit, and you look like a fucking asshole. Let me tell you, you're going to spend $120,000 on a car that has 14 miles to the gallon. It costs thousands of dollars for the smallest repairs, and automatically, you know what it tells me? You're an asshole. G-Wagon, coffin on wheels. Range Rovers, Land Rovers. It tells me you evade your taxes and you hate poor people. I'm just letting you know, from a working man's perspective to a whatever you are perspective, you look like an asshole. And they're not even that nice, ultimately. I'd rather spend, I don't know, $90,000 on a fully souped up Ford Raptor truck. Or maybe even a Jeep Grand Cherokee, souped up all the way to almost $100,000, and at least I get the coolest possible car I can within a reasonable budget. Reasonable, quote unquote. Please don't be an asshole. Get a better car. I think I kind of nailed that right at 60 seconds, to be honest with you. All right, now that we got that out the way, time for the good stuff, my media spotlight. This week, I have been listening to a lot. I've been going back to the classic, perfect 2018 album, Astroworld by Travis Scott. No, you can't say if I'm mad or not. Smoking hella weed, I'm on that alcohol. Shawty lick me clean the way she sucked me off. I keep 2 hoes in my bed, I got them turning out. Bangers. I can't think of one skip on that album. Even Coffee Bean, the last song. It's slow, but it's fucking good. It's a perfect end to the album. Stargazing. Great start to the album. It's unfortunate that Drake is on one of the best songs, Sicko Mode, but to be honest with you, I don't even think it's one of the best songs. I actually think it's one of the lower songs. And it might be because it got too popular. I heard it too many times. I heard the bwowf, 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 bwowf. Ain't this here with all the ice on in the booth? I heard that too many times. Too many kids who look like me, white, and who sound like me, boy, sang it. I got too many. Oh, it's fucking Trizzy and Drizzy on the track together. It's Travie and Dracky on the track together. One take Dre, Travie No Tits. I don't know if they call him that. That's what I'm calling him right now. Travis Scott. By the way, if you use Travie No Tits, you have to pay me. Yeah. My favorite song's on it, NC-17. That 21 Savage feature might be one of the best ones he's ever had. Can't say the one I started out with. That fucking what's his name? Don Tolliver. Fucking beautiful, beautiful way to really throw him into the mix and show people that he's part of the Jack Boys creative team and the label, which he is, I believe, still on the label. Which shout out to him. Fucking having a baby with fuck, what's her name, bro? She's incredibly attractive and very, very good at music. And they had a baby together. She's a Spanish artist. Man, I wish I could remember her name. She did a fucking whole album. Whatever, who cares? Really cool guy, Don Tolliver. He seems like a nice guy. Kind of seems interesting, actually. What other good songs are on there? Houston Fornication. Fucking great, dude. Another banger. I mean, Stop Trying to Be God. That might be the best song on the album, the best track on the album, truly. The James Blake feature at the end, the fucking Stevie Wonder unreleased fucking harmonica take. But stop trying to be God. That's not who you are. Stop trying to be God. So good. So fucking good. I sit there and I listen the whole time. I don't care if he's talking about Kylie most of the time. It's a fucking good song. What do you want me to do? Lie? Not gonna do it. Can't. Just kidding. Can, but won't. Oh. It's a good day. Can you guys tell I'm a little bit medicated, a little bit pumped up because I gotta be for the solo show? I'm very interested to see how people like this show because you know what it's actually an impending doom for? Those who hate the Philip Solo show are going to have a bad day when they hear this. The solo show is coming back. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Sound for your ears is making a comeback. I don't know exactly when. I don't know exactly how, but I know who, and it's me, baby girl. It's me. I'm coming back, and I'm coming back hard. I'm coming back fast. I'm gonna come back. This Stone Cold Steve Austin. I'm coming back. One mic, yeah. One guy, yeah. One cam, yeah. Infinite gas. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. Can I get a hell yeah? Hell yeah. Girlfriend's texting me. What is she saying? She's saying hearts. She liked my message. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. The solo show has taken a dive, to say the least. What else on my media spotlight? Oh, rewatching True Detective Season 1. We talked about it, I think, either the last episode or episode before for the B.O.E.cast. I didn't tell them I'm rewatching, but I am rewatching now. I think they were talking about Season 1 or 2 again, and we were mentioning in some way, we love the show. If you can't tell, we love True Detective. We love True Detective. I love that show. Matthew McConaughey. I love that Woody Harrelson line. Want you to stop saying weird shit. I don't agree. I think Matthew was actually pretty funny. I think he's quite insightful, that guy. Not as insightful as me. I'm the most insightful. It's quite nice. So it sucks. I hate that I can't fucking do that anymore. All right, so yeah, True Detective. It sucks I can't fucking do that impression anymore. I hate it. It really fucking sucks. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't suck that bad. Ultimately, it's really not that big of a deal. I can't do a fucking Trump impression, especially when he's leading a fucking fascista government. Fascista governmenta, or whatever those stupid fucking wops say. Heyo! This is an anti-Italian podcast, even though we have an Italian on it. How does that work? Don't know, don't care, but it happened. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, Season 1, True Detective. I'm rewatching it mainly because I want to like go back. I don't remember a lot of it, especially like the details of it. And I want it to be one of the shows I keep rewatching to just get as many details as possible, and like details not only in the story but in like the production side of it. Like I want to see if there's any slip ups. I want to see like even though like he fucking locks it down, the production, the editing team. I want to see, what I miss, background characters, little side things I'm missing. Same thing I'm doing with Silence of the Lambs. Another thing I just watched recently. I watched Silence of the Lambs by myself at like 11 o'clock at night, so I didn't finish till fucking 1:30 in the morning. But I mean, I tell you, every time I watch that movie, I am reminded of why it is my favorite movie in the world. I fucking love that movie. It's so good. Every performance nails it. Even the ones you think are kind of bad, you look back, you go, yeah, that's a regular fucking person. I would also probably act that way. You know what I mean? Like, and you know what, Jodie Foster? 5. I stay with it. I also didn't realize until I rewatched it again this time how little she is. There's a moment where she gets out of the asylum, right? Or she gets out of, yeah, I guess you'd call it an asylum. She gets out of meeting Lester for the first time. And it's when she has the cum thrown on her from Miggs, which, by the way, crazy. But when she's walking around and people are looking at her and she's walking through the streets, and you just realize, like, this woman is fucking so little. She's like 5 foot, maybe 5'1". And so I go back. If she's 5 foot, she's 5 flat, she's a 5. Boom. I keep it. No, I'm just kidding. In that movie, she's very cute. But yeah, I don't know. That movie is fucking phenomenal. And rewatching it too, um, the guy, and I never remember his fucking name because I always find him to be forgettable as a character, kind of. But the guy who hires her from the FBI to go and start profiling Lester, and then who ends up bringing her on and saves her, kind of an asshole of a character. He like is so clearly obsessed with being the one guy who gets Dr. Hannibal Lecter, and who like had broke him and like got him in prison and caught him and blah blah blah. And it's like, I think it's like Stevens or something, Stevenson, whatever. And it's so interesting how many times in the movie, like, you think he's gonna be this fucking uh role model or like mentor to her, and ultimately he constantly uses her as like bait. You know what I mean? Like, or as like, he uses her as a tool to continue what he is always trying to do for his own personal gain. Like like the first time he sends her to Hannibal Lecter, you're like, okay, you took this. Like, at least he explains it to her. It's not like he gets there or like she gets there and then she gets back and reports, and then he's like, I'm sending you because you're a cute woman, like like you're an attractive woman who is also like, kind of low key, really smart and like very like pointed, and so I know you're gonna get through. Like, he tells her that up front, which is fine, whatever. Like, at least she hasn't, or she knows why she's going in. So when she inevitably gets, you know, ogled at by all the guys in there and by Lester, she's not sitting there being like, I feel like he just wanted to fuck me the whole time. And it's like, nah, right? Whatever. But it's when, like, how do I say this correctly? Like, the bait obviously comes from, she gets back. If you've seen the movie, she gets back. After she visits Lester for the first time, she's like, why didn't you tell me? That's clearly what. Then she's like, he knows that you're trying to use Lester to profile Buffalo Bill and to figure out who it is. Why didn't you just tell me that? And he's like, if I went in there, if I, sent you in there with an agenda, Lester would have fucking sniffed it out and immediately, shut off and fucking whatever. Okay, I can understand that a little bit more if that was your only time doing it, but it's not the only time he did it, right? He sends her back when he's in New York, right? When he's in that big hotel and they're doing the press conference, and then he's in that big giant room where he ends up escaping. It's very clear he sent her in there to go get and manipulate not only the police that are watching him, even though they're cops, but also to manipulate Lester into fucking, like finally getting the secret of Buffalo Bill. So I don't know, man. It's like, and then like when she goes to the funeral for the cop, and or not the cop, but the woman, the girl who's missing, and she goes to this like funeral and she meets all these cops there, and he's like, oh well, like, Captain, I'd, really appreciate if we could, to have this conversation outside of the ears of whatever. Basically saying like, oh, I don't want to fucking say gruesome shit in front of this lady. So let's, mind you, she came with you. So why the fuck did you bring her if you weren't going to talk to her or talk about this in front of her? And he's like, oh, it was just it was just smoke and mirrors. I had to get him to trust me, blah, blah, blah. Dude, you're the fucking feds. And they're lowly, small town, no one cops. What the fuck are you talking about? You just wanted to look cool in front of the other cops. Just say that. It's not about getting information or making this other police officer comfortable. Bro, fuck off. That's some of the only times I thought the writing is so shitty of like, okay. Because then it's like, it's also that moment that really doesn't happen again. Of like, we're like, I only can assume that the writer and director, like the creators of this, were trying to send a message where like, he's like, I was just, trying to blah, 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 like get on his good side. And she goes, it matters. Sure, it matters, sure. What you say, how you act, it matters. The other guys, they shit. They take a note. You set the bar. It matters, sure. Okay, point taken. Message received. Yeah, dickhead. Say sorry, bro. What the fuck are you talking about? That shit pisses me off every fucking time I watch it. It's the only part of the movie that takes me out where I go, what the fuck? Fuck you, bro. And in the end, he doesn't catch her, which, again, I get, whatever. So, if that's the part that get taken out of it, and it's a fucking, like, ultimately 30 seconds of a fucking 2.5-hour movie, fine. Fine. Phil concedes. I digress. But I'm not happy about it, and I will complain about it every time I fucking see it. Every time I fucking see it, I will say something. I am not a crook. I am not a crook. Richard Nixon, if you didn't know. But that movie is fucking so good, dude. Like the way it's just like, what does he do? Oh my god! I rewatched like 5 times. I kept going back and rewatching when he finally starts to profile her, like a profile Buffalo Bill with Jodie Foster's character, who I never fucking remember her name, and it's a kind of easy name. Doesn't matter. Where he's like, what does he do, Clarice something. But when he's with Clarice, it's like, what does he do, Clarice? Who is he? He murders women. He kidnaps and murders women. No, that is his job. That is coincidental. What does he do? He I just think it's so funny trying to do a Jodie Foster impression. He covets. And how do we covet things, Clarice? How do we covet? We covet, we hold it on a pedestal. No, Clarice, we covet things we see every day. I just think it's so funny. And then in the end, it's like, he covets things he sees every day. He covets things he sees every day. Oh my God, he knew her. Oh my God, Clarice, you're a genius. Oh my God, Clarice, you're a genius. He knew her. He knew her. He knew her. Ah, man. And that's like when film still really looked so good. And I know we talked about it with on the last episode or tune-up, whatever. We talked about it on the cast a couple episodes ago. Nick talked about specifically of like why those movies do so well too, why you're able to stay in it, is the way it looks. And that film look, that kind of fuzzy, weirdly like bright, except for in some moments it's really dark, but like just the way it's like kind of like coldly lit all the time, really. It really takes you back to like the 80s and like the time period and how people felt at the time when like serial killers were all over the place. I mean, they still are. I think there's a whole study a statistic that there's like 200 to 300 fucking serial killers going on active in the U.S. at any given moment. Which, by the way, crazy. But yeah, but I mean the 80s, dude. Yeah, like y'all hadn't even fucking figured it out yet. Y'all hadn't cracked the code. I should actually double check when that movie takes place because I'm pretty sure it's the 80s, but maybe it's the 70s. I could be totally fucking wrong. Let's see real quick, shall we? Let's see. Silence of the Lambs. 1991. So I'm wrong. Nah. Let's see. When does take place? It takes place in 1990. Clarice Starling, Agent Starling. Because I always thought they said Agent Sterling forever. When that's not. That's Sterling Archer. But hello, Agent Clarice Starling. Agent Starling. Hello, Agent Starling. Hello, Clarice. And you feel as if you catch Buffalo Bill, you can make the lamb stop screaming. You feel as though if you are able to save her and you're able to save at least one of them, that you'll finally sleep. You'll finally stop hearing the screaming of the lambs. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Lady, he's right. Now, Starling, I'm serious. Don't tell him anything but personal. The last thing you want is for Dr. Lecter to be inside of your head. And then in the first visit, he's in her head. She didn't listen at all. Hilarious. Anyways, I can go on and on about that movie. I mean, it's just perfectly done. The music is perfectly done. The other character who I fucking hate, and I don't know if you're supposed to hate her, is the girl who gets kidnapped. That fucking girl is so annoying. And she's fine at first, right? But it's when, like, you get through it. Like, I get she's desperate. That's not the part that's annoying. Really, the only time where I go, all right, dude, why don't you fucking relax? Like, you're being saved. That's when she's being saved. And she's like, where is he? How the fuck should I know? I'm going to get you out of here, but where did he go? How the fuck should I know? She's like, all right, well, I'm going to get you out. You are safe. You're saved. But I have to leave this room for a second. No! No, don't you leave, you fucking bitch! Don't you leave me here! Get me out of here! Okay, why are you calling her a fucking bitch? You haven't been found for days. Days you've been down there, and you have this stupid fucking rat dog with you. Which, by the way, I don't blame you for breaking that dog's fucking leg and getting it down there so that this fucking weirdo cross-dresser doesn't fucking murder you and cut your skin up like a goddamn roll of fabric. I get it. But, dude, you're being saved. Like, you know you're inevitably going to be saved. Because if there's one, then there's 100 on their way. Right? You work like your mom is a senator. You should know. If the cops found you, if one cop found you, there's 100 more on their way. Right? So she comes to save you. And then when she has to leave for a second, because she still doesn't know where the guy is, you're going, no, don't you leave me, you fucking bitch. Hey, psycho. Hey, the actual psychopath in question. That's so rude. That's so rude. Because at least Buffalo Bill was telling you that he was going to kill you. You made it pretty clear what was going to happen. Agent Starling, is she leaving for a second? She's not fully attending to you immediately because there's still a fucking very dangerous, large, strong, clever, smart, fucking sly-ass serial killer on the loose who talks like that. Wait, how did he do it? Oh, yeah. Is she a big fat person? That's what it is. Oh yeah. Is she a big old fat lady? How does he say it? Is she a great big fat lady? Is she a great big fat person? That shit's so funny. You know where Miss Littenberg is? You know where Miss Littenham is? Oh no, I don't. No, she's not here right now. Oh, okay, that's fine. Do you know when she would be home or where she may be right now? Oh no, 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 I don't. No, I don't. Oh wait, yeah. Is she a great big fat person? Reminds me of that fucking scene in The Office where it's for the disco cafe disco episode, and Phyllis is gonna go down. She's gonna go tell Bob Vance that she's gonna go down to the cafe disco on the first floor, and this can make no sense if you're not an Office fan. If you're not, eat a dick, I guess. I don't know. I'm gonna talk about it either way. But she goes down. She like goes to Bob Vance refrigeration. She goes to the front desk. She's like goes in to talk to her fucking husband. And the secretary comes out, and it's also like a big fat white lady with like the same haircut as Phyllis, and she's just like, like I like to imagine the like, I like to imagine Bob Vance watched Silence of the Lambs in the universe of Oh, you know what? It does exist in the Office universe because there's the fucking CPR episode where Dwight turns around the mask. He's just like, "Hello, Clarice. Hello, Clarice." But that Bob Vance watched, and he's just like, "I get it, brother. I get it. Me too." Although the women that Bob Vance is going for are much larger than the women that what's his face was getting. Buffalo Bill was luring and murdering and cutting up. I guess I'm just on a serial, like a gruesome serial killer kick. I think I'm on a crime kick, is what it is. Because you know what I was thinking about rewatching lately is the 7.5 or 7.7 whatever it is, which is like the documentary about the super corrupt cop. Not only the but main not I mean a lot of cops were corrupt, but specifically these two guys from the 7.5. I think I'm pretty sure it's called the 7.5, which I believe is also the time period of New York that American Gangster takes place in. Shout out to Denzel, one of my favorite actors. But yeah, uh, I love that fucking documentary. It's one of the best documentaries I think I've ever seen. But again, I'm on a crime kick. I'm a crime guy. I think that's why I want to go to law school too, is because I find the law to be very interesting, and how people circumvent the law is I find really fucking interesting. Right? I've been a rule breaker all my life. I've been someone who's constantly pushing the envelope in terms of things I'm allowed to do, things I can do, and things I'm not supposed to do. Right? And actually, like, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but the LSAT writing thing this year was, whatever. They're not gonna fucking find this. The LSAT writing prompt this year was basically in the realm of, um, you know, where does morality come into play when creating legislation, right? To what extent does an individual or personal morality play into the creation of laws in a society? And I find that stuff very interesting because, like, there's things that I don't think we should do, but I believe that people should be able to do if they so choose with their personal freedoms. Because to me, personal freedom is a big thing. And it's very important to me. Like suicide, for example, right? Do I think you should do it? Fuck no. I've lost a lot of friends to suicide. I myself was suicidal at one point, right? And I've talked about it to an extensive amount in different areas, right? I'm not shy about saying, yeah, I've had a hard time with that. I've struggled with it many times in my past. But ultimately, if it's not hurting anyone, I mean, emotionally is whatever. But if you're not putting anyone else into physical harm by doing something, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to do it if you want to. It's your fucking life at the end of the day. Again, I don't think you should do it. In fact, I think it's abhorrent, and I think you're a bad person. But the law is not about morality. It's about justice, right? It's about fairness. It's about equality, equity. That's what the law should be about. Not, are you a good person, right? And because, like, you can't stop bad people from becoming bad people, really. It's logistically impossible. Um, and often with people like that, when you try to stop them from doing something, they go harder, right? So that's why you implement the punishments. You implement consequences into the law so that they have to follow something so that they don't harm other people. And also, like, physical and financial harm are obviously different. That, like, physical is where you get criminal harm, and then financial is where you get civil harm. Um, Obviously, theft is like a whole different ball game as well, when it comes to the law, because that is, I guess, physical harm, because you're taking someone's stuff. But it's also financial harm because then they had to go and buy it again, right? I don't know. That's a hard one, right? Um, yeah, I don't know why that's the stance I stay on, but like there's other things, right? That I think that you should be able to, but not that you should do, right? Because there's also extenuating circumstances, right? The exception makes the rule, or whatever that stupid saying is. Which, like, I don't always agree to that because there don't have to be exceptions to every rule. Um, but that's just me. Like, how do I say that? Like, I'm trying to think of like what's another example of something that I think you should be able to do, but that you shouldn't do it morally. Um, I mean, I don't really know actually. It would take me a second to think of it, and quite frankly, I don't want dead air because it's a solo show. So fuck it. Um, I guess we can get into some political analytical. Some political analytical is that I have not really been following anything. Oh my God. I had to break my streak. Instagram and TikTok are back on the phone. It was unfortunate, I know. I know all of you. I can hear the groans. I can hear the, no, Philip, you're kidding. You were doing so well. I know. It was for work. I had to re-download it for work. We were doing a shoot. We were getting ready for a shoot, pre-production stuff, and someone dropped out the day before the shoot. I had to get on and see who I could cast in lieu of the person who dropped out. But which, by the way, fuck you to that person. Wildly unprofessional. $1,000 to basically do a couple of fucking lines over a 12-hour day. Fuck you for missing that. Talk about unprofesh. Talk about unprofesh. Considering that person is not an actual profesh when it comes to acting, weird that you'd act so unprofesh. Weird. That's strange. That is strange. Yeah, but whatever. Political analytical, I guess, like, a lot of people hate JD Vance now, which is awesome. But a lot of people think that he's fucking Erica Kirk, which could be true. I actually do think it's true. I actually think he'll probably divorce his wife in the next year and immediately be seen with Erica Kirk. Like, I think he's trying to take Charlie Kirk's life and likability. It's really weird, honestly. Like, he has such connections to Palantir and all these weird fucking dudes like Peter Thiel that JD Vance could go to those guys and be like, make him disappear and give me his wife and his life. I want his life and wife. I want his life wife. You know? I want his life. I want his wife. And I'm going to put my wife into a closet and never let her out. But you have mixed kids, bro. It's too late. We never forget. We'll never forget. And we shouldn't. Because I feel bad for your fucking wife. I feel bad for your kids. You look like a weirdo. You seem like a weirdo. You seem genuinely hard to be around. Like, genuinely difficult to be around. Oh, and then Trump said the other day that he doesn't like him that much. He doesn't like JD that much. But, I mean, that's to be expected. Trump didn't like Pence either. Because Pence was a real Republican. Well, he's a neoconservative. But, like, he's more of a real Republican than Trump has ever been. Right? And so I feel like JD Vance is just kind of a dickhead. But Trump doesn't like him either. Because he probably talks over him. He's just like, I know for a fact. I don't know. I could bet a lot of money that JD Vance treats Trump like when you're at like a firm, like if you were at like a finance firm and there's like a new hotshot who's landing a lot of sales, who's landing a lot of accounts, who's kind of, has more authoritative position than you would hope he did. And there's like an old guy who's been there, who's kind of like the rock of the place, like the face of the whole place. And he's just kind of like big dogging him from under him, which is like, how? But you know what kind of guy I'm talking about, where you're just like, oh, you're fucking insufferable. Like, no wonder you had to fucking switch from being a hard leftist to a fucking, like, fascist. Like, no shit. No shit. I bet everyone on the left fucking hated you because you're a jerk off, you fucking loser. What a loser. What a fat, moon-faced loser. God, I hate that guy. I want to dunk his fucking nerd dork head into a fucking toilet where it belongs. Shove that bitch ass into a locker, dude. He's such a fucking loser, bro. And that's the thing that frustrates me. Like, Pence is a loser in his own way. But at least, like, at the end of the day, he's a man. He's a fucking man, right? He goes hunting. He goes horse. He loves horses. He loves his wife and his family. JD Vance is a bitch, dude. He's a bitch. Bitch made bitch, dude. The fact that he even got into office, bro, disappointment. What a loser. He's probably banging Peter Thiel out on the side and turning his fucking weird robot ass out. Cracking his bitch ass in half. I wonder if all those guys bang. Like, to me, like, it's the same amount of conspiracy around them banging as Jesus and the disciples. Like, it could not be true, right? They could not be fucking. But if they are, which I think they are, then they were fucking, right? I think those guys are banging. Like, I truly do. I mean, there's a lot of conservatives. A lot of neocons are fucking gay. Or at least, like, deviant in a homosexual way. And it's sad because, like, out gay people and, like, real gay people, they're awesome. I rarely have a problem with gay people. I have most of my problem with bisexual men and straight women. That's who I have the most amount of problem with. Because bisexual men are, and me being one of them, although I'm no longer practicing because I have a girlfriend, but bisexual men are the most selfish people possible. You have a man's greed and a man's sex drive and a man's innate need or like impulse to conquer, and you play on it from both sides of the plate, bro, you're a fucking asshole. You're a selfish, greedy asshole. You want both? You want both types of holes? You're greedy. Not saying you should only get one, but they're the guys who are always trying to, and when you're like a real bisexual guy, like you truly don't care who it is, you just want to fuck, right? You want to fuck who you want to fuck. Greedy, dude, every time. I'm good friends with one of them. One of them's on this podcast. Greedy. And the selfishness, it comes across in other areas too. I do think it's greedy. But also, straight women. What's your fucking problem? What's your problem? Seriously. My God. I feel like I'm constantly having back and forth with straight women. Where it's like, dude, relax. Relax. Especially straight white women. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Why don't you sit down with us? Sit down over here next to guys who look like me. White. Okay? You need to talk into like the rest of us. And you need to actually listen this time. And not keep going, but what if? But what if? But what about me? But what if this? What if? Shut the fuck up. Just shut up. Listen to it and incorporate the notes. Take the notes, incorporate it into the performance, and the show fucking goes on. Don't just sit there fucking bitching and moaning about it the whole time, lambasting everyone else because you can't fucking get it right. Like, you can be wrong. We're constantly told we're wrong. Okay, so y'all are too. There was a point around, I don't know, 100 years ago. Does the year 1919 sound pretty familiar to you? There was a while, a long while I would even say, that you know what, yeah, you know what, you guys are under the thumb. You guys are under the thumb in a genuine sense. 1919 happened, guys. It's no longer like that. Because the 19th Amendment ultimately was for y'all. That's how it was created. It was for white ladies to go do it, to go vote and have rights like white men had. Because that's who you guys passed it for. Y'all didn't give a fuck about other women, POCs, WOCs. Y'all didn't give a fuck. Y'all certainly didn't care about black women. Trust me, I have read history books. I saw the pictures of the white women at the segregation shit, at the fucking integrated school bullshit, fucking protest. Fuck y'all. Sick of it. Sick of it. Also, this is another hot take, but it's not part of the hot take. If white guys got to stop having podcasts, straight white guys, or just straight men in general, I need straight white women to stop getting podcasts too. Y'all are just as insufferable, and you offer little to no insight that we can't get from anyone else. Lady, I can just watch The View whenever I want and get every one of y'all's opinions. I mean, Red Scare is a perfect place to start with that. It's two women who talk like this and literally hate everyone but themselves and those who look and sound exactly like them. Shout out to Dasha. Um, bad shout out in a bad way. Boo, fuck you. But yeah, that's my little harp on again, straight white women. Who, if you're in my personal life, you know I've had beef for a while. I've held the beef for a while. When I got beef, I got beef. Sorry, where's the beef? It's right here. It's right here with me, baby girl. It's time for another little sip of water. We're cruising, y'all. We're cruising like 40 minutes in. Fuck you. You thought I couldn't do it, and yet here I am doing it. Perfectly, easily. Blah, 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 blah. That's where I'm at right now with the vamping. Oh yeah, that feels good. Is there anything I've been wanting to watch? Let me think if there's anything I've been wanting to watch. I don't know. Like I'm curious to keep going through season 1 of True Detective, and I think this time I'm really gonna push through and try to watch all 4 seasons and catch up. Because I've never watched anything other than the first. I've seen clips and I've seen pieces of episodes from season 2 because it was Kevin's background show in the office for a while. When I was coming in more often to work during the day, I would see it a lot. But yeah. Um, lately, I've been working on self-discipline. That's a hard one, guys. Self-discipline is fucking very difficult sometimes. Like self-control. At first, it was like just going to the gym and then like eating, and the diet became the next part of it. Now, like it's money stuff. I've never been good at money. I've never been good with money. Um, I've had a lot of death in my life, and I think that played a point. Let me get there. Just give it a sec. It's gonna get there. I've had a lot of death in my life, and I think, especially from a young age, I had people close to me, um, who died in kind of tragic ways, and I think it has always made me kind of bad and aloof with money because from a very young age, I understood the whole thing of like you can't take it with you, right? And I try to have as content of a life as I can. And I find that lately I'm not as content with life as I want to be. My personal, like my love life, barring that, because, I found my person and I see no world without tragedy in which that changes. Um, so now I can focus, obviously I still put in the work and it takes effort, it takes, time and sacrifice and everything to do that, which I'm more than fine to do because she makes my life better than I could have ever done on my own or than anyone else ever could have. But with that, it means that like now because I'm so content in that area, I'm like hyper focused on my career and myself, um, my own self worth to myself and like my esteem, my self esteem, and I find that I'm not happy with where I am, and I'm sure some people can relate to that. It's hard, and from what I can tell, like it never really stops. Like there's not a point of your age if you don't put in the hard work and you don't dedicate, and even if you do, sometimes that you find yourself in discontent with your life, with contempt for yourself, and I don't think you should hate yourself. I really don't. And it's taken me a long time to get to that place where I don't hate myself and I don't hate who I am because ultimately I am a nice guy, right? It's cringy as shit to do this, and I'm feeling very cringe. That's why I'm glad I have my sunglasses on at least. But, you know, I think I'm a nice person. I'm not a nice guy, but I think I'm a nice person. I truly try to help people whenever I can. People I care about and I know, or even those people who are strangers, like strangers on the street. I see a lady going down the stairs or going up the stairs with a stroller, and immediately I'm like, "Do you need help?" I get up and let people sit on the train. I pick things up for people when they drop it. I try to be courteous, retail workers with their job, wait staff, stuff like that. And now it's like on the professional side of things. I'm back to, if you watched, a few months ago on the cast, I talked about wanting to leave New York. And now I don't want to leave New York because I don't like it. I want to leave New York because it's, I guess it is because I don't like it, but it's only I don't like the aspect of it's so constricting. It's so limiting if you don't have a ton of money. And it's hard to start getting a ton of money when you live here, right? Um, so I find myself at discontent, not because I'm not making a lot of money for the sake of having money, but because I feel like I can't provide for my family in the way I want to. And I almost don't want to. I don't want to move out of New York so I can have nicer stuff. I want to move out of New York so I can save money, so that down the line, we don't have to worry. Right? I'm not a materialistic guy. I'm really not. As much as Fallon likes to call me a shopaholic, I just like a couple things here and there. I don't need to have everything. I don't. I didn't grow up in that way. Didn't grow up in a way where it was like, I want this, you got it. It was often no. It was very often no's when it came to buying things and materials and stuff like that, and toys and fun and whatever. Fun only in the sense of I got this new thing, like retail therapy. Uh, my family was a yes on I want to play this sport. I want to pursue this thing. I want to, you know, I would love for us to travel to this cool place for the history of it, not because, hey, let's go here and spend a bunch of money and do whatever. Like, we weren't a Disney World family. I've only been to Disney World one time, at least that I remember. Maybe when I was a kid, when I was like really young, like a baby. But I only remember going once, and that was in high school as a freshman. And it was okay. I would love to go as an adult. I feel like I could have really, really appreciated more. Um, but yeah, to get back to content with life, I find and maybe I'm still on the journey, and you'll continue to see, and that's what a large part of Sound for Years is about, is giving myself kind of like a diary that I want people to hear. And I'm back in a place now where I'm not working myself to the bone every fucking day. I am working a lot, but I'm not working myself to the bone for no payout like we were at Adorama when we were working at the camera store. So I'm excited to keep working on myself and keep working on this thing and really make the Sound Viewers podcast my own thing. I'm going to be buying a camera. Like, I'm saving up right now to buy a camera and a lens for it. I'll have the P8 with me, or I'll use the F6 or whatever. I'll find whatever I need to find to do the thing. And I want to bring on guests, and I want to ask them real shit. A friend of mine, Julian Dory, shout out to Julian Dory. Check out the Julian Dory podcast, who is also produced by a good friend, Joey, who I want to have as my first guest, actually, on the Sound Fears podcast. And I would love for the first couple if he would be on it, actually. And I want to bring people on and really ask them about, like, how do you find contentment in your life? Because it's something I constantly struggle with. I constantly feel like I'm not enough, or what I'm doing is not enough. Like, and maybe I won't ever be enough for myself. Maybe. I don't know. I certainly am going to try to. And maybe you find contentment in the trying, right? Maybe it's like, well, I am doing everything I can, and I'm happy that at least I'm doing that. Like, cause like, what does contentment do? If you're content in your life, are you done? Right? Is there no moving forward? Is there? I mean, I feel like you can always move forward. You can always move up. You can always do better, be better, do more. And maybe that's a young man's thought. Maybe that's a young man's game. But I don't know. I never want to get to the end of life and be like, I should have, I should have, I should have. Um, who knows? It's hard. But also, I also don't want to then sell myself for the money. Because then that leads to different I should have, I should have, I should have. So maybe no matter what, you get I should have's, right? Maybe no matter what, you end life with regrets. Regrets that, like, could have changed everything. Not just little things. Not just a conversation where you wish you hadn't called someone a bitch, or you wish you had reached out again to someone who ultimately, like, you really never would have talked to again after you reached out. Like, I always try to weigh things in my head, especially like big decisions of like when I look back, am I going to have wished that I attempted this thing? Or am I going to look back and if I do it, am I going to look back and be like, I wish I had never started this? Is it going to bring about, am I risking hurt? Am I risking destitution? Am I risking tragedy? Am I risking discontent in the pursuit of being content? I don't know. It's a hard one, man. It's one of those things of like, what's the purpose of life? I don't think there is a purpose. I really don't. I think the best part of it is that it's purposeless. And that in that purposeless, we find our purpose trying to make ourselves happy. And trying to find what makes us happy. Because I feel like you can always learn new things with that. Right? And it could be something big, like this, like a person that makes you happy. Or it could be something small, a fruit you never tried, soda you never drank before. You finally drink it and you go, wow, that makes me happy. That's so good. That makes me happy. Happiness is weird. Happiness is very weird. Because it's like, I don't know. And that's why I would like to find that journey. I would like to stay on that journey. Constantly find it. I also plan on having Fallon on the Sound Fears podcast. And that'll be interesting too. In my journey for contentment is to have my partner, my teammate, my soulmate sit there with me, talk about it. She's incredibly insightful. She has also had years of therapy, and so it's awesome to talk about and to talk through things with her. And that's why also, like, that's not to say we don't have fights and long, hard disagreements and long talks and weird conversations. That's what we call our arguments, is weird conversations. But that's why we have them. Because we're both people, and we both weren't always like this, but we're both people where it's like, I love you. I know A to B, right? A lot of people go into these arguments, and I'll bring this up on my solo cast, and I'll end everything with this. A lot of people have a trait where they don't want to have arguments because they don't know what the end of that argument looks like, right? They don't know if they're at A and B is the end of the argument, they don't know what B looks like. And that's terrifying to them. Because the one argument or the one disagreement or the one this, the one that could end things, right? B could be leaving the relationship or leaving the friendship or whatever, leaving the job, right? But what I love about me and Fallon's relationship is that I know A to B. I know A is us disagreeing and us being butting heads. We're at contention. But I know B is we're falling asleep in the same bed for the rest of our lives together. I know that for a fact. And sometimes do I get scared? Yeah, that little voice in me, that fucking dickhead. The same one who when I was 17 told me to kill myself. The same one that when I was 22 told me that I would never be loved again. Or at 20, I guess, technically. Same one at 20. And then the same one at, 25. I'm not crying, I swear to God. I know you won't believe me, but I swear to God. Pinky promise. But that little voice, and everyone kind of has that little voice that just tells them fucked up shit about themselves. But that little voice sometimes tells me like, this is it. This is her deal breaker. But I know in my heart that that's not true. And so going into it knowing A to B is there, it's set. So all we got to do is get through this blip in the overall scheme of it all. Yeah, that's way easier. And also I'm someone who likes to sit, for the most part, in my romantic relationship, I should say. Because I do have friendships where there's some things wrong and some things that I wish I could say. But I am worried about what happens at the end of that. But there's something about in my romantic life that I'm not going to let us do that. I'm not going to let us sit there and not say something because we're worried about how the other one's going to take it. You just got to say it. And we'll figure it out because we know A to B. We know A to B. We know the start, we know the end. So then we just got to muscle our way through this bullshit. This line that cuts straight through it. That's the line I'm taking. That's the road I'm always going to take. Because that's what it has to be. That's communication. That's trust. That's a relationship. That's faith in your partner. Faith. That, and that doesn't mean go out and be a dickhead and act like a jerk and like cheat on them because well, she's not going to break it. I know B at the end of the day, A, B, blah. No, that's different. That's traumatic. That's bullshit. But yeah, I think that's important. I think everyone should do that. And I think if you're afraid, like if you really think that that's your person, if you don't think it's your person, okay, then at the end, okay, fine. I get the anxiety more. If you're like, well, I don't know where this is yet. Well, do you want it to be that? Do you want this to be your person? Okay, well then you got to believe in B. You're at A, and if you want to be your person, you want B to be y'all lay in the bed and go to sleep next to each other for the rest of your lives, then you have to believe in B. And that's what I'm going to part you with. If you want B, you got to believe in B. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this week's episode of the B.O.E. Entertainment Podcast. Make sure to check us out on Instagram and TikTok at B.O.E. Entertainment. Make sure to check out the website, www.b1entertainment.com. You can follow me on Instagram, and I will see it this time, at phil.omf. You can follow Nick at nick.bradshaw.20. You can follow Kevin at the_K_Mora. Yeah, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching, and make sure to check out the Sound for Your Ears podcast when it comes out. It's going to be nice. Bye!